It's Hugo back with another video. So we're gonna go over the weekly recap for the week. Can't lie, this week was rough. There's a lot of things going on with the week. At the end of the week, we caught the news of Trump doing the 50% tariffs on euro. So it definitely ended up making the market very volatile and just unpredictable at the time. So we did mark up Euro USD. We did have it break through the resistance as we had the support down here, and the support lined up with the 50% area that we had marked up for the week. We had liquidity looking to get captured here up top. And then also on the 4-hour, you can see we had that 50% there that the market didn't come to as of yet. So we were initially in this trade in profit. I really wasn't paying attention around this time, but as you can see, when price breaks above resistance, it now becomes support. So once the price got here, I really wasn't paying attention too much, but I just held the trade because we were just holding it because at the end of the day, I wanted to see if we can definitely get to these areas. I definitely should have just took profits here as we, did get at least 50 pips. We were shooting for at least 100 pips and just being a little greedy, but also being patient with the setup, because I've seen times where I've cut the position or I've cut partials and I could have went the whole way, with the move. So it just really depends. You got to decide. I forgot that I even had the resistance there. Looking back at it now, I definitely should have cut that trade once it got in this position and kind of made that wick. But I had a lot of things going on that day, so I really wasn't paying too much attention to it. But it definitely was a great move to be in initially. And you kind of see like how we didn't get certain crosses on the 2-hour. We got the cross on the hour, but you can see that change once price got here. So yeah, that was definitely something that definitely just shifted the market in a whole nother different direction once we broke resistance, came back. And then we ended up, making the resistance support. So definitely a big move for the week that we end up getting taken out of 35 pips. GU, we really didn't trade, but it looks like it did the same thing. Broke above resistance, which then became support. And then, price ended up, just shooting up higher from there. Didn't get to capitalize on it the way we would have thought. But we did collect this liquidity here, and we didn't capitalize on the initial move up. As it did happen pretty quickly, and it happened on Sunday in the wee hours of London session. So we didn't catch that one because I was out of our session. And now we got NZD USD. This was the initial trade we were in for the week on Monday. It was a Monday, so I was really, really patient on how I interacted with the market, especially like on Mondays. I just kind of learned that just over time. So when it comes to Mondays, I'm definitely just a little bit more patient in the setups and everything that, I execute in. We did end up missing this move. We were initially in it, but I ended up cutting it just due to not feeling like, it was going to make the full move at that time. But we did get the push up, and then it kind of pulled back a bit. And then we got the rest of the push up into this POI area. So I definitely was like, damn, we should have stayed in that. It was definitely a good move to stay in. But we ended up, cutting it just due to catching it like really early in the morning before our session. I think I caught it around 5. And I'm just not feeling like it was going to just make that full move then and there, which it did, half the move, pull back, and then it did the rest of the move on Wednesday. So it would have been probably like 3 days of just holding that one trade, which, I'm really not too fond of too often, just holding trades for more than at least 2 days. So it just really depends. But definitely another one that we definitely didn't get to capitalize on, just because definitely should have just broke even on that one. It did hit resistance as it did start to fall away from resistance. We got our confirmation for the sales, in which we did end up selling here. It didn't sell for too long. I did add a position here. And then as you can see, just like EU, it kind of just rose back up. Coming up into the higher time frame 50% areas up here. So we did get that push up into the 50% area, and the liquidity possibly getting captured next week up here. So that's definitely something that's possibly going to be happening next week. Like I said, this week just missed moves or us holding moves for a little longer, but sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, holding moves to their full fruition and trying to see, how far we can go. I really was thinking this move was going to hit down at the support down here and capture all this liquidity here that it created as it hit the resistance, but I was wrong. And then it just kind of shot up from there, coming towards this 50% area on the higher time frame we had on the 4-hour. So And then Euro AUD, definitely, it was just a total disappointment. Friday morning, I definitely saw that we could definitely capitalize on the move here. And we did take losses on it earlier in the week as well. As you can see here, we got stopped out there. And then here was a trading area where I had a sell stop here from earlier in the day. And when it came down, it kind of like wicked it and then kind of came here. And then I ended up like cutting that trade since it was a trading area, not knowing how far it could really go. We did collect liquidity here, so we could turn that gray. But after that happened, I really didn't know if after activating this, it was going to, it made a new high on the hour. I didn't know if it was going to continue to come up into these POI areas up here and hit this resistance level. So I just kind of cut it. So there was just a lot of things that kind of just contributed to the losses this week for the trades. And let's see, Friday, it did look potentially good for us to hop in and sell. I did see that a lot of, I woke up at around like 5 or 6 and I saw that, we were rejecting this area a lot. So I did get into a position out of nowhere. We just got like a spike of volatility. I put a test lot on, and then all of a sudden we got like this big spike of volatility, and this candle was just like playing for like 30 minutes. And then as this price, I had a 2 lot down here, and as when price took out my test lot, then I ended up coming down and activating a 2 lot. And as like we started like seeing the pressures, I ended up getting a notification that Trump just had said that he was going to raise 50% tariffs on euro, which I was in euro AUD at the time. So because of that news, after just seeing like how volatile it was and just like how it was moving, I did end up cutting the trade, which I deeply regretted like 3 hours later after I saw it just literally just went straight down. I was sick to my stomach for real. Because I was like, damn, that could have been a great regain for the week. It went down for at least 70 pips. And that could have like kind of covered everything that we got hit for. That 2 lot definitely would have got us at least $1,600 just off this move. So that kind of would have, helped us get kind of like back to where we were for the beginning of the week, because we definitely lost around that amount, like about 1,500 just for the week, attempting to just trade like different pairs and not closing out the trades that we were profits in or going break even. So that's just really what had to do with a lot of that. And just definitely a disappointing week. From what I can see, I wasn't the only one. We're just going to come back next week stronger, get to these goals. We did get smacked around a lot this week, so it's going to be a lot to recoup from. I'm going to try not to just go crazy and like over leverage, but definitely it was just really hard this week. And this was one that we were in the beginning of the week. And this one was definitely one of the most disappointing trades for the week, because I held this one for like 2 days. I was losing sleep. I was like staying up watching it because we were definitely looking for it to hit that 200 pip mark, but just price just didn't do that. There was a lot of things that just happened, and we navigated the trade pretty well. I can definitely say that, because we didn't lose that much on this position specifically. But when I did get in, when we did get in this position, it was Tuesday. So I hopped in. We saw, a lot of moves happen. Liquidity was created here. So once, we got here, I did end up cutting some partials as like price and our session started to go down. So I started to bring my lot down. Like as price started to come closer to my break even, I would like take partials, kind of like cut the trade down to where like my lots weren't as high. And then I had like a buy stop that was like here to activate me for what I cut it for, and also just a little bit more, just in case it kind of like just shot up, which it did shoot up. But then I saw that it was gonna possibly like create like this wick that it created. Like it was just an impulse move. So I collected a lot of partials here, which you can see the W. We won that trade, and then I kept some on the table. I mostly risk at least like 30 to 40 pips, no more than 40. After this move, I thought it was going to start to make those higher highs again, but I didn't get any confirmation. So I just left it alone for the rest of the week. And you kind of see like what ended up happening and kind of coming down to the higher time frame areas, which this happened in about 45 minutes on Friday. And I was definitely upset when I saw this too, because I was so focused on Euro AUD at the time that I wasn't even looking at this to possibly be, something that, price could kind of come into, which it kind of came into this area perfectly. So if you kind of look at this area, came into like the balance scale of this area and then kind of like shot down, which that move was like 100 and something move. Yeah, 150 pip move. Like that happened within 45 minutes. There was so much other things that we could have capitalized on. There was no confirmations when it came to exactly this area. And I really wasn't looking to be trading this anymore, just for how long like the move took to kind of like play out and how it didn't play out all the way like I wanted it to. So I kind of wasn't even looking at it, but it did collect this liquidity here. And then it did start to come to this support slash 50% area, POI area that we marked up earlier in the week on a higher time frame. So we could definitely do it. It's just, capitalize on it as much as we can and just seeing, how we can do that for next week and just, regrouping and getting our mind fresh. This week definitely ripped us to shreds, but, we're just going to come back next week stronger and just see exactly what we can do, fine tuning certain things to kind of see exactly what we can do to get to the levels that we want to get to as far as our trading and the pairs that we want to trade and just paying more attention to news like we usually do. This week, I didn't really pay too much attention to news. And that was just surprising news. That Trump just all of a sudden made a decision that he was going to do that. So, you just never know what news is going to come out aside from the news that is set to come out. So that's why I really didn't focus on, I didn't put in the chat too much news for the week as far as that. But nevertheless, I still got to take full responsibility for the trades that you're in because the only person that clicked the button is you. So you got to make sure you just take full accountability no matter what happens. I'm Hugo, back with another video. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, definitely feel free to comment below this video. Join our Discord for any trades or analysis like these. And make sure you guys like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. And I'm out.